What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel as well as on Twitch, so make sure you come by and say hello. This video is also brought to you by my music, which is available anywhere you stream music under the name Aftersound. And I do have a new song out recently called Summer Gravity, so check it out. Let me know what you think, and I appreciate the support. All right, guys, we have the most recent town hall on September 18th, and I got my 5 biggest takeaways from it. Now, I apologize. I know this is a couple of days late, but the town hall happened for me on a Thursday evening before a relatively busy weekend. And so I didn't want to just rush and get something out. I actually wanted to take the time to listen to the town hall again just because I kind of had it on in the background. And then I felt because we did that kind of like live reaction to it on Thursday, on Thursday's stream, I felt like, that could probably bridge the gap. But also, Tails puts out a really phenomenal, AI-powered kind of like podcast, conversational podcast recap, which I think is fantastic. So I highly recommend you go check out his channel and look for that. These, again, this is not a summary. This is just my 5 biggest takeaways. So I did get a chance to listen to the town hall again. There was a lot. So let me just jump in. There was a lot once again. I mean, these things are starting to become really action-packed in terms of all the stuff that they're working on. It reminds me a lot of the 2021 energy, where it's just like so many cool ideas, so many cool things. But the difference is these aren't just ideas that like Matt or some team member has, right? This is something that is actively being worked on and spec'd out. And yeah, it can be changed and all that. But I would say that, this town hall and the one back in August are jam-packed with a lot of things that are currently being worked on, and it's exciting stuff. So, and I know for anybody that might have attended the live stream, obviously, Lorcas feels differently, and I'm not here to call him out. There's a lot of issues that we see, obviously, within the game itself, within the market itself, within the game economy. But as a game, I am still very excited and very bullish about where Splinterlands is going. Again, game-wise. Economy-wise, I mean, all that stuff is, I think, unfortunately left up to the broader market here until we can figure a better model forward. But, as long as the team continues to have money and is able to put out cool features, I will be playing. And I still check in literally every morning and play multiple battles throughout the day. So that was not the introduction that I really wanted to give to this, but that's just where I'm at. So let's go ahead and dive in to number 1. And this was kind of like an offhand comment when Blaze was giving his marketing update, but he said that over the past 30 days, there have been 5,000 new accounts that have signed up. Now, if memory serves me right, this was Dave's goal. When Dave came in, he said, I want it to be so that the game is pulling in 5,000 new players every month. Now, these are not going to be diehard, whales or whatever it is, but they would be 5,000 players. They would come in, and obviously the goal now is to improve the retention metrics. And I don't remember the stats off the top of my head, but it doesn't matter, because to me, that's kind of like a goal in and of itself, that whatever kind of marketing that they've done, which they say has been minimal, they haven't really done, anything super crazy, but just whatever marketing has been done, there were 5,000, new accounts that did sign up. Now, maybe some of those were alt accounts as people went in for the, what's that called? Frontier mode and all that. But 5,000 accounts is still 5,000 accounts, right? And to me, we are still in the early days of whatever the team is trying to do and build. They have now gotten their skis under them, or whatever metaphor you want to go for. They're figuring out how to. They have the infrastructure built, right, to have something for new players to come into. Now it's tweaking. Now, how do we improve little things here and there? How do we watch what the new players do when they come in and increase the conversion metrics? So to me, that's actually a big win, and I just wanted to call that out because I remember that 5,000 a month being a thing. Now, is it always going to be 5,000 a month? It does look like some of the signups have slowed down recently, at least on Peak Monsters. I don't know internally if the team has a different thing that they're looking at, but probably not. Either way, it's the whole market's been in a weird space, especially in the month of September for people who are familiar with Bitcoin and crypto. But that's neither here nor there. We got 5,000 accounts signed up in the past month. That's pretty cool. Shout out to the team. I'm very excited to see how they ramp up the marketing efforts from here. Number 2, this is a big one because, I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago, whenever the team started doing the holiday skins, right? So whenever we get into, I think it was maybe Christmas the first time, and then or like the winter holidays, and then you had Easter. Maybe they did something for Halloween as well last year. I can't remember. Just all this. The last 4 years have been a blur with Splinterlands, to be honest. But this is the first time that they're offering Halloween skins. They teased a bunch of eye candy on the town hall that is actually going to represent as an NFT. So the functions won't be available right away where you'll be able to trade them and send them and put them on a marketplace. But the team is working towards that. This is going to be the first time where it's, if you want it, you can go and purchase it, right? Or whatever it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be Glint or DEC or credits or whatever the case is. However that's going to work, they're putting these out there. And to me, that's interesting, right? Because this creates a whole new element, and I am excited for that because I know a lot of other people are excited. I've never been into skins very much, right? No matter what game I've played, but I do understand just how powerful that is from a flex perspective, from a collector's perspective. Like all of that to me, like I get, even though I don't participate in it. So I'm very curious to see how this goes, and I'm glad that the team is in a place where they feel like they can at least have the underlying infrastructure to build towards that with this first holiday set, right? The Halloween holiday. So that is number 2. Number 3, this is probably one of the biggest ones just because there was so much about it, but reward cards. We know that there is a Conclave Arcana reward card set that is coming soon. October is the tentative launch, if I skip to the bottom of the notes there. The main thing here that was kind of teased maybe in the down hall a week before was that there's going to be some kind of SPS staking requirement in order to get the black foils and arcanes. And there will also be a DEC fee on those, right? So if I understand correctly, it's something like it's going to be a one-time fee to participate in this so that it doesn't get abused. And then there's going to be an SPS staking requirement that allows you to get, once you do your battles and get, 5 wins or whatever it is, similar to like Frontier mode, you will get your raffle tickets or something like that. And based on, how much SPS staked you have and your DEC, if you paid the DEC fee, you'll get raffles. And, it's going to be like 70 plus cards that are given out, I think, every day, which is kind of wild when you think about it. So just because of how big the reward card set is going to be. So, with that being said, there's a lot there, and the important thing is, if you look at the second note, the regular foil cards are going to be soulbound, but all others, as I understand it, are not. Meaning that even if you open a gold foil, in a chest, that thing is going to come out as something that you can immediately sell on the marketplace. Now, here's the thing. I don't know how this works for the rarity draws, and I will say right off the bat that, granted, I've never spent on the gold foil rarity draws. Those things are relatively expensive. But if those become a way in which people can, buy a bunch of gold foil cards with glint and essentially turn their glint into dollars or DEC, however you want to look at it, that seems exploitable to me. But understand that the team is not given all of the details, and I'm sure they're looking at all of the ways in which exploits can happen to avoid stuff from the past. So I don't want to pass any judgment yet. It's just that was the first thing that came to mind. I will say this, though. I really like how the team is approaching this. And I know a lot of folks are looking at this and saying, well, the team hasn't gotten anything right. They haven't done anything right. And I get the frustration. I do, right? We even talked about it on the stream as Lorcas and I were kind of on opposite ends there. But here's the thing. When you look at what the team has done, you can say... You can view it through the lens of saying, like, well, they've driven a bunch of players away, right? By, maybe making the cards soulbound in the first place. But they've also cleaned up the game economy in so many ways. They have removed and reduced incentives for exploitation, especially from bot farms, right? Now, I want to be very specific about bot farms, right? The ones that were mass, farming and essentially running the value of the cards to zero over time. Yeah, it was holding up the market for a little while, but it's not, that's not a long-term strategy that you want. So I like the fact that the team is now coming into this and saying, okay, Chaos Legion, the third Chaos Legion, reward set, they tried it soulbound. They did the same thing with Rebellion. Now they're looking at this and saying, well, hey, maybe we can open things up. So again, they're trying to figure this out as they go along. Some people are have more patience for that than others, but I really like the idea of testing this out, seeing how it is, and I think the team is actually pretty good about changing the rules of the game. And I know that's not necessarily a great thing in, the decentralized world of crypto, but I think the team has done a good job of like, if something's just not working or it's exploitable, let's clamp down on it immediately, which is part of that's the main reason I think I should say, in such a jam in the beginning, is because of the fact that like when the white paper came out and gave DEC way too much power in the SPS airdrop, they didn't want to change anything because they didn't want to deviate from the white paper. And maybe at the time that was the right thing to do, but things are different now, and especially when it comes to whatever they're doing in game, right? So non-SPS related, but reward card related, they're going in and they're changing stuff immediately, which again I think is good. It helps for the long term, and it shows that they're kind of tracking the metrics as they go along. The last thing about this is another thing that I don't want to get too far into. There's going to be some kind of new potion, is what it was, right? It's almost like a consumable item that you will get in reward chests, but apparently you can also craft in land that will be unbinding scrolls, which means you can apply them, I think, to reward chests to get your regular foil cards non-soulbound as well. Again, I was complaining about this on the live stream by saying that I don't like the idea that you can get them for free in chests, but you can also craft them on land. So it's kind of like weird because it's like giving land utility, but then also like undercutting it. I'm just going to refrain from any judgment right now because a lot of the stuff I think was just given out as ideas. I'm sure the team, and so I have an incomplete picture. I'm going to, be the first to admit that. I have an incomplete picture of what they're planning, and I'm sure that they're thinking about the same things that I just spoke about. So we'll wait to see what that looks like. Obviously, October is right around the corner, so my hope is that we do get to see that soon. But, Matt was like, yeah, we're shooting for October, but there's a lot of changes, so you never know. And then I was like, all right, so this could come out in November, and then they want to do a mini set in December. Like, that's a hell of a lot of new cards. I don't know. It just feels weird to me. So, but here's the thing. I wanted and I asked for time frames, right? Not to hold them to it, but so I'm not going to sit here and complain when they actually do give me time frames. October launch is what they have, tentative. Let's hope they can do it, and let's hope there's no hiccups. All right, number 4, the auction process is going to be getting an update for at least Yaba's Pickle, because I believe that's starting soon. And one of the big things, again, it's not live yet, but what they're trying to do is get away from sniping. So if, let's say there's 5 minutes left, or let's say there's like a minute left, and somebody comes in and puts in a new bid, then the auction will extend for 5 to 10 minutes, is what Matt was saying. And so therefore, what they're really doing is not allowing sniping and not undercutting or kneecapping the actual true price potential, right? Because it's like, if you let this go on indefinitely, people will just keep raising and raising the price. And so you actually want to see what the true price of this is. How much will people value it? Because if you allow for that 5-minute extension, it's just like people will have to really think about it and be like, do I want to bid X amount more? Okay, I will. And then that resets the timer, right? And gives the other person that same thing. So I like this. I think it makes sense. They're innovating on this stuff. The auctions only came out, when was it? With Heloise last year. So, I think that this is a good thing for them. And then finally, the CGRF is getting press coverage. And this is something that I need to dive into a little bit more. I was talking with Clay about it as well. But for CGRF, for people who are unfamiliar, is the Crypto Gaming Relief Fund. I actually think this is going to be something that has a lot of potential to bring a lot of eyeballs onto the game. It's just in the early stages right now, and you're seeing a lot of games kind of fall apart left and right. And so just the simple fact that, we have something available, an olive branch, a life raft, whatever you want to call it, right? Something available to toss to people if they want to take it. I think that's important. I think that shows, the longevity, the stability, and again, Splinterlands hasn't always been stable, but, we're here now, and I do genuinely think that, like, once things start to kick off, if that gets a lot more coverage because people come back and they're like, oh man, you know what? I had assets in this game and now it's gone. That sucks, right? Now I'm talking about let's say we get into like a true alt season. They come back and they're just like, oh, that sucks, and then they hit Google or ChatGPT or whatever people used to search these days, and they find out that they can get some kind of value in this other game for just showing that they had assets there. I mean, again, crypto bull runs are kind of crazy, and I wouldn't be surprised if some crazy things happen there. So that's just all I wanted to say. Like, they talked about a little press coverage that it was getting, and I feel like I should probably talk about that in a little bit more detail. Not the press coverage, but just like my thoughts on the crypto game are really fun. But let me spend a little bit more time on that. And a couple quick bonus items. The new voucher promo card stats are out. They did share that on the town hall. I did a separate video on that, so keep an eye out for that. And then the iOS app seems like it ran into a bunch of hiccups, but it seems like they're almost through them, so that should be coming soon. Although we know we know how that work goes when it comes to anything in crypto. So that is all I have for you guys in this video. Like I said, lots of cool stuff on the way. The only other thing I can think of is land. Yeah, I should have put this as a bonus item. Cryptomancer has just been on vacation for a bit. So Matt really didn't have any land items. He's hoping to have, or land updates. He's hoping to have that by the next town hall when Cryptomancer should be back and working on the land cards, right? The land specific cards. And then after that, he'll pivot to 2.0, which kind of tells me that we're probably not going to get anything 2.0 related until like deep into next year, right? Because if Cryptomancer's still working on this stuff now and he's been, on vacation, I'm assuming we'll maybe get some of the Cinder and all that other stuff from land before the end of this year, and then he'll start working on 2.0 stuff maybe early next year. Again, that's all I have. I don't have access to the land channel anymore, so if anybody wants to send me Cryptomancer's updates from time to time, I would appreciate that, and I can make videos. But that's why I haven't been doing the land updates, just because I don't have access to the channel anymore. So that is all I have for you guys in this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.